Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Welcome to Pasadena Jewish Temple and Center. I'm glad everybody's here. Before we get started, I have a few PSAs. Those are public synagogue announcements. And first, I'm going to speak to some people who are joining us from the ether, using electrons. Wherever you're coming from, however you're getting here, you're in the right place, and we are glad to have you. StreamSpot, Facebook, YouTube, Zoom, what have you. If you're on Zoom, and you happen to be on Zoom, we have a prayer book here that we're using, and if you don't have this prayer book, you can link to it in, there's going to be a link on the chat here in a second. So buckle up. I'll say this for everybody, whether you're here electronically, whether you're here in person, this is a musical community. So that means we're going to be making some music up here. You are invited to make music with us. We're not doing this just for fun, although it is fun. We hope that you will join us, whether you know the words, kind of know the words, don't know the words at all, just want to hit something percussive in front of you, that's fine too. Just please feel free to engage and come in wherever you are comfortable, and we'll be delighted when you do. Now, some special announcements just for the folks who are here tonight. Really glad to see everybody here tonight. Really glad that we can make this happen. Couple of things that are very important you should know about pertaining to our safety and security protocols. There's something about tablecloths. So a little bit later tonight, you'll see that there's a place set up for snacks, for oneg, things like that. The blue tablecloths are where people can sit, correct? There's food at the blue tablecloths. Use the tables with the blue tablecloths. Do not use the tables with the white tablecloths. The tables with the blue tablecloths will have chairs around them indicating the white ones are for tomorrow, and that's kind of how we're trying to keep everything balanced between tonight and tomorrow and make sure that everybody can celebrate Shabbat and celebrate with the Masjedi family we're celebrating their becoming B'nai Mitzvah of our good friends Ethan and Eliana. Okay. So, blue tablecloths for tonight, white tablecloths for tomorrow. There's some other fabric-related items that you're probably aware of. There were some masks where you came in, whether you came in wearing masks, came in and grabbed some masks. Let me explain just very briefly about our mask policy here. This community has decided as a community that our standard for safety is that everybody who is sitting in a pew, everybody who's present in this building, with some exceptions I'll explain in a minute, should be wearing a mask regardless of their vaccination status. That's what we have decided as a community, and we really appreciate people abiding by that. The exceptions, you'll see that the cantor and musicians and I are not wearing masks. We have been isolating together throughout a lot of this, and we're here, there, over there. We don't have to switch cameras, but you can see that anytime that's they're going to stay over there, we're going to stay over here. Anytime somebody in the family or a friend of the family has an honor, is coming up to the bima to do something up here, they are invited to, when they get to the bima, take their mask off for the honor that they have, and then put their mask back on when they go back to sit in the pews. Anytime that any of us are interacting with anybody over there, we will be putting on our masks. We're doing this for as long as we have to keep safe and no longer. Okay, so if everybody can play along with that, we really appreciate your helping us out. Last thing I should tell you about, yes, we're using a lot of electronics here. This means that things are being recorded. That means that you don't have to record anything. So if you've got a cell phone, give it a Shabbat. Put it in your pocket so you don't have to film anything, you don't have to take any kind of pictures, anything like that. All that's being taken care of, so don't let that distract you this evening. And with that, did I forget anything? That was quite a bit.
Yeah, that was.
Is the service over yet? So, no, it's not. So, let's go ahead and get started.
Let's.
Okay, so what we're going to do to get started is, now that we've put all the announcements aside, let's welcome in some angels. There's a custom that we have as we sing this song, Shalom Aleichem. We're saying hello to these angels that we welcome in to escort us through Shabbat, to bless us, and to leave us on, to leave us at the end of Shabbat, blessing us on their way. So that's Shalom Aleichem, and you can find the words to that on page 13 in your blue book.
So if you want to take a moment to close your eyes and take a deep breath. If you don't want to focus on the words, that's okay too. You can hum along. If if you want to allow the melody of this Shalom Aleichem welcome you, to grab you and to take you and to hold you for the next few minutes at least, you can do that too. Let's join together. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi-melech, Malachei Amlakim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Lochem Leshalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi-melech, Malachei Amlakim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Baruch-Uni Leshalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi-melech, Malachei Amlakim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Zechem Leshalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi-melech, Malachei Amlakim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Together. Ya, ya, la, 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 ya, la, la, ya, la, 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 ya, la, la, ya, la, 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 ya, ya, la, la, ya, la, la, ya, la, 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 ya, la, la, ya, la, la, la. Zechem Leshalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi-melech, Malachei Amlakim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Even as we increase the sound in this space while the lights are going down outside, we're going to increase the lights in here by lighting the Shabbat candles. I would love to invite up, Michelle is going to join Eliana, and they're both going to be joined by Susan Katzman and Diana Maschetti and Karen Friedman and Nerika and Bara Maschetti as well. Are all going to come up to light the Shabbat candles. And do we have a story about those candlesticks?
Shabbat Shalom. We are very honored this evening to welcome in Shabbat with these beautiful candlesticks that were made by Eliana and Ethan's grandmother, Susan. She made these and we are going to light them tonight. So please join us in the blessing. Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvoto v'tzivonu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen. Shabbat
Amen.
Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Beautiful. And as the family is being seated, Eliana, don't try to sneak off with them. Stay up here, please. We're going to continue with the songs of Kabbalat Shabbat, these psalms and poems that were arranged for us by the Kabbalists of Sfat. They shared with us to act like steps on a staircase or rungs on a ladder so that we could ascend from whatever it is we're mired in during the week to the holiness of Shabbat. And the first rung on our ladder is L'chuna Ranana on page 15. Page 15.
L'chuna Ranana, L'chuna Ranana, neranena l'Adonai, lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena l'Adonai. Naria, naria, letzor ishenu, nekama panav kedotav. Naria, naria, letzor ishenu, bizviranu yachol. Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena l'Adonai, lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena l'Adonai. Arba'im shana akud vedor va'omar amatoei levavem ve'em lo yadu אשר נשבעתי ואפי אם יבואון אל מנוחתי.
Page 16, 16. We're going to continue with a fairly new song, at least by Jewish standards. It's only about 500 years old. It's on page 22, right? Page 22?
Yeah.
It's called Lecha Dodi, and some sages of Sfat about 500 years ago put this song together as a way of welcoming in Shabbat, thinking of Shabbat like an honored guest and welcoming her in the way you might welcome in royalty or somebody getting married coming to a chuppah. And it's called Lecha Dodi, Come My Beloved, and this is how they spoke to Shabbat. We're going to start on page 22, page 22.
Let's start with Lecha Dodi. Lecha Dodi, Likat Kala, Pei Shabbat, Nekabela. Let's try that again. Oh, Lecha Dodi, Likat Kala, Pei Shabbat, Nekabela. ולא תקרני, מה תשתוכחי ומה תאמרי, בך יחסו אני אראה ימיני ונתה, הררתי לך לך דודי לקראת קלה לשבת לקבלה, לך דודי לקראת קלה לשבת לקבלה. והיו לי שיסה שעושייך ורחקו כל מבלעייך, יסיס עלייך אלוהייך כמסוס חתן על כלה. Together. לך דודי לקראת קלה לשבת לקבלה, לך דודי לקראת קלה לשבת לקבלה. ימין ושמאל תפרוצי בית אדוני תריצי, אל יעניש בלבלתי פני שמחה ונגילה. לך דודי לקראת קלה לשבת לקבלה, לך דודי לקראת קלה לשבת לקבלה. בואי בשלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצולה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה. בואי חלה, בואי חלה. לך דודי לקראת קלה לשבת לקבלה, לך דודי לקראת קלה לשבת לקבלה. Let's try that one more time together. לך דודי לקראת קלה לשבת לקבלה, לך דודי לקראת קלה לשבת לקבלה.
You may be seated. I'm now going to call up in honor of Aunt Adina Masjedi, is, I believe, joining us on Zoom to lead us in a Psalm for Shabbat, which you can find on page 23, page 23. Antadina, whenever you're ready.
Shabbat Shalom. Hi. Mazel Tov, congratulations. A song for Shabbat. It is good to acclaim Adonai, to sing your praise, exalted God, to affirm your love each morning and your faithfulness each night, to the music of the lute and the melody of the harp. Your works, Adonai, make me glad. I sing with joy of your creation. How vast your works, Adonai. Your designs are beyond our grasp. The thoughtless cannot comprehend, the foolish cannot fathom this. The wicked may flourish, springing up like grass, but their doom is sealed, for you are supreme forever. Your enemies, Adonai, your enemies shall perish. All the wicked shall crumble. But me, excuse me, but excuse me, but me you have greatly exalted. I'm so sorry. But me you have greatly exalted. I am anointed with fragrant oil. I have seen the downfall of my foes. I have heard the despair of my attackers. The righteous shall flourish like the palm tree. They shall grow tall like a cedar in Lebanon, planted in the house of Adonai. They will thrive in the courts of our God. They shall bear fruit even in old age. They shall be ever fresh and fragrant, to proclaim Adonai is just, my rock in whom there is no flaw.
Thank you, Antadina. I appreciate your perseverance and beautifully, beautifully led. If you've been here for any length of time, even if you're just here tonight, you could probably guess we've got a song about this. So we're going to sing this psalm also on page 23. Page 23.
מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשירך עליון, לזמר לשירך עליון. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשירך עליון, לזמר לשירך עליון. להגיד בבוקר חסדך, באמונתך בלילות, עלי יסור ועלי דבר, עלי גיון הכינור. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשירך עליון, לזמר לשירך עליון. כי שימחתני אדוני בפועלך, במעשה ידך, במעשה ידך מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשירך עליון, לזמר לשירך עליון. מה גדלו מעשיך אדוני, מעודם קומת שמותיך, מה גדלו מעשיך אדוני, מאוד המקומם שמותיך. יא 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 לה יא לה יא לה 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 יא לה יא לה 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 יא לה יא לה מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשירך לשמר את שמך העליון ולזמר לשמך
Well, Shabbat Shalom. If you're just joining us or if you've joined us since the beginning, welcome to Pasadena Jewish Temple and Center. We're delighted that you're here. We're delighted that you're there. We're really delighted that you're celebrating Shabbat with us, and we're really grateful that the Masjedi family is celebrating this wonderful simcha of their children recognizing becoming B'nai Mitzvah, and you'll hear more from Eliana and Ethan in a moment. I just want to share a few brief words of Torah because we agreed that they would give the sermon tomorrow, and I'm giving the sermon tonight. So, I shared with some of you my recent vacation that I went on a few weeks ago, loosely speaking, camping. But camping is the one-word answer because it was a little bit more complicated than that. It was actually a hiking trip. And it wasn't just a hiking trip, it was a very long hiking trip with a group of people known as the Boulder Outdoor Survival School, run out of Boulder, Utah, where there was camping, but it was also a kind of curricular activity. There was, I was part of a group of 10 students with 2 guides, and we got driven out on a dirt road about 2 hours from the closest paved road and dropped off for a week. And we learned some valuable skills, right? Maybe it's a midlife crisis thing. I didn't get to do the Boy Scouts when I was little. As soon as I found out they weren't the ones with the cookies, I quit. So I went to this survival school, and they taught us some very valuable lessons about just the basics. How do you get by, right? How to find water. Look for certain foliage and you can tell that water is there. How to build a shelter out of just about anything. But one of the most important survival tools, it turns out, and this was news to me, but it made all sorts of sense later, was attitude. And the teachers introduced this by citing something that happened. I forget if it was in World War I, World War II, but there was a shipwreck, and there were 2 different life rafts jettisoned from this shipwreck. And they were both found from the same shipwreck, but the rafts and the people aboard those rafts were in very different conditions. And there was one raft where everybody made it back. And there was one raft where not everybody made it back. And the people on the raft where not everybody made it back looked terrible. Right? They were haggard, they lost tons of weight, they were sickly, and of course they were bereft because some of their raft mates weren't with them anymore. The raft where everybody made it back, the rescuers reported, I swear, when we were getting closer, we could hear them singing. And they said that afterwards, after they talked to the survivors, what made the difference? Identical shipwreck, identical training on behalf of these people who were on the rafts, identical background, profession, what have you, everything was the same. The one thing that was different was their attitude. And the people who maintained a good attitude thrived. I mean, they were happy to get off the raft. But they survived, and then some, and everybody made it. The ones where they, maybe somebody started complaining, or maybe they just had a bad outlook or something. Maybe somebody stubbed their toe or had an argument with their captain right before they got on the raft, and they already were mad about something. And they fared completely differently. And they said that, my teachers at this wilderness shenanigan said, what you need to do is whatever happens, try to maintain a good attitude. And the secret to that is what we call comparing down. Whatever situation you are in, try to think of a worse situation you could be in. Right? If you're down to one canteen, you could say, at least I have one canteen. If you don't have a canteen, at least I have a stomach full of water. Right? If you have to make your clothes out of leaves, you could say, well, at least it's not poison ivy. Right? And then there was the sort of default, the sort of catch-all, no matter, at least the feedback's not louder. If there's some default catch-all, you could say, well, at least right now I'm not actively on fire. And I thought, I had something to say to this, but I kept it to myself. It's this joke. I've been thinking a lot about Jackie Mason this week, of blessed memory, who I didn't know until this week was a rabbi. So I think I remember him tell a joke one time. What's the definition of Jewish optimism? Things could always be worse. But I didn't say this because I didn't want to perpetuate this stereotype among a bunch of strangers that we complain about stuff, right? And besides, it's unfair because we compare down, not just compare down better than anybody I know, but we always look up better than anybody I know. Okay. At least I can still talk. Only for a little bit longer. We do gratitude better than anyone I know. We thank better. We thank about more. And as much as, let's say, in the book of Exodus, we complain about the food. My rabbi told me the reason they didn't have any food in Exodus is because somebody asked them to RSVP on the synagogue website before they left. We have this genius habit of what I call gratitude stacking. We don't just thank. We find ways to amplify it. We find ways to exponentialize it. Think about Dayenu. Right? That is an exercise, that song is an exercise in gratitude stacking. Hey, if I wasn't a slave anymore, that would be good enough. But no. Now I get to go out in the wilderness and worship God. And then God gave me free water. And then I get this wonderful manna stuff to eat. And then I got the 10 Commandments. And then we made it to the Promised Land. And we got Shabbat. And all this great stuff. And every verse is about stacking gratitude on top of gratitude. And we have another technology that you'll see tomorrow morning called Birchot HaShachar. Every morning we start our prayers with this litany of gratitude, and we're supposed to say it right when we wake up. Which you could ask, well, I just woke up. What do I have to be grateful for? Well, Birchot HaShachar tells you. These are things you could be grateful for before anything else good happens today. God made you a human. If you're reading this prayer book, God probably connected you with the Jewish people. That's pretty great. God gave you the intuition to be grateful. God made you a free person. These are all things we could be grateful for before anything else good happens today. It loads the day, it preloads the day with gratitude. And when you start with gratitude, everything goes up from there. The last example that I want to share with you is from this week's Torah portion, Parshat Ekev, where, I'm not going to spoil it, there's some pretty cool stuff coming tomorrow, but I noticed something very mundane about this. We have this one verse that turns out later is terribly important. It's in chapter 8 of Deuteronomy, verse 10. V'halta v'savata uvarakta et Adonai Elokecha al haaretz hatova asher natan lach. When you have eaten and been satisfied, give thanks to God for the good land which God has given you. This is the proof text, if you will, for Birkat Hamazon, the fact that we say blessings after meals. Again, sometimes I joke that, saying blessings after meals, well, that's just pragmatic, because you never know how good it's going to be. But that's not the point. Reb Shlomo of Karlin, many years ago, had a student who asked him, if you eat and you're not full, do you have to bench? Because it says, you have eaten and you are satisfied, then you will bless. And so what Reb Shlomo says is no, because you already know before you eat that you're going to bless. You are primed, you are prearranged to bless before you eat, that you're going to bless afterwards, and that makes you satisfied. So this comes to teach us, as we've been taught again and again, whatever blessing we have, and there are things we could use more of in the world. There are people who don't have enough to eat. There are people who don't know where the next paycheck is coming from. But if you start to bless what you have, and you build on gratitude, you will be satisfied. You will help others be satisfied. And you can still work toward having more, toward giving more, toward building a more abundant world. But if you start with gratitude, you will be satisfied, and you will be a blessing to everyone around you. I want to close with my gratitude once more to everybody who's participating in this service today, and especially the Masjedi family for sharing this simcha with us. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
We're going to continue our service this evening with Mariv, and we're going to begin with our call to blessing the Baruch Hu, which is going to be led by our good friend, Eliana. I'll call both of you up because you both got work to do. But let's go to the other podium. Wait just one second, all right. And Eliana is going to lead us in the Baruch Hu. We are going to rise and face the ark and join together on page 28. Page 28. Baruch Adonai Mevorach Leolam Vaed. Baruch Adonai.
Umavir yom ume vilayla umavdil ben yom uvein laila Adonai tzavaot shemu el chai v'kayam tamidim lo chalenu le'olam va'ed Baruch atah Adonai
Baruch
Baruch Shemo.
Ha'ma'arif aravim
Amen. You may be seated if you wish as we continue with Ahavat Olam, blessing God for the constancy of God's love on page 29. Page 29.
Ahavat olam beit Yisrael Amcha ahavta Amcha ahavta Torah u'mitzvot Chukim משפטים, אותנו לימדת, אותנו לימדת. על כן אלוהינו ושוכבנו, ובקומנו נשיח בחוקיך, ונשמח בדברי תורתך, ובמצוותיך לעולם, כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו, ובהם נהגה יומם ולילה, נהגה יומם ולילה. ואהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים, ברוך אתה אדוני אוהב עמו ישראל, אוהב עמו
Amen.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha bechol levavcha uvechol nafshecha uvechol meodecha vehayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha veshinatan levanecha vedibarta bam beshiftecha b'veitecha uvlechtecha v'derech ושופך ובקומך, וקשרתם להיות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך.
We continue at the bottom of page 30 at your own pace, and we'll get back together in just a moment. We join together at the top of page 31, page 31.
Vayomer Adonai el Moshe lemor, Daber el bnei Yisrael, ve'amartan lehem, ve'asu lahem tzitzit, al kanfei v'tehem ledorotam, ve'natnu al tzitzit, hakanach v'til techelet, ve'haya lahem, ve'tzitzit, uritem oto, uzchartem et kol mitzvot Adonai, ve'asitem otam, ve'lo taturu, acharei levavchem, ve'acharei einechem, asher otem zonim achareichem, leman tizkeru, ve'asitem et kol mitzvotai, ve'hitem kedoshim leloichem. Ani Adonai Elohechem, asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim, lehiot lachem lelohim. Ani Adonai Elohechem, Adonai Elohechem emet.
אמת אמונה כל זאת קיים עלינו.
We bless God for the evening and the morning light. We bless God for the constancy of God's love. We now bless God on page 32 for God's faithfulness as a Redeemer, answering us when we call, page 32.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, נורא תהילות אוסף פלא, נורא תהילות אוסף פלא. מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, נורא תהילות אוסף פלא, נורא תהילות אוסף פלא. מלכות אחריו בניך, בוקר הים לפני משה ומרים. זה לי, אנו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך, אדוני ימלוך, לעולם ועד. ונאמר כי פדה אדוני את יעקב, וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו. ברוך אתה אדוני,
ברוך שמו,
גאל ישראל.
Amen. I'd now like to call on Ethan and Eliana's aunt, Karen Friedman, who's going to lead the Hashkivenu. From page 33.
Okay. Help us, Adonai, to lie down in peace and awaken us again, our sovereign, to life. Spread over us your shelter of peace. Guide us with your good counsel. Save us because of your mercy. Shield us from enemies and pestilence, from starvation, sword, and sorrow. Remove the evil forces that surround us. Shelter us in the shadow of your wings, O God, who watches over us and delivers us, our gracious and merciful ruler. Guard our coming and our going. Grant us life and peace, now and always. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Praise are you, Adonai, who spreads the shelter of peace over us, over all his people Israel, and over Jerusalem.
Amen. Thank you.
Well done. If you'll stay on page 33, we'll sing this blessing.
השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום ועמידנו מלכנו לחיים. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום ועמידנו שומרנו לחיים. ושמור צאתנו ועלינו לחיים ושלום ואתה ולעולם. Together. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום ועמידנו ומלכנו לחיים. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום ועמידנו שומרנו לחיים. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום
Shemo.
הפורש סוכת שלום עלינו ועל כל עמו ישראל ועל ירושלים. אמן.
We continue on page 34, page 34.
Together. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. אוי 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 ובין בני ישראל עוד תכלאותם כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ וביום השביעי שבת וינפש.
Continue with the Chatzi Kaddish on page 34, page 34.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה
Amen.
בעלמא דברה קרתי וימליך מלכותי
בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי כל בית ישראל בעגלה בעגלה ובזמן קריב
ויאמרו
אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעולם ולעולם יומיה.
יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה
בריחו
לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה
תושבחתה ונחמתה תמירן ועלמה.
ויאמרו
Amen.
We rise for the Amidah for Shabbat evening on page 35b and face the ark. This is a silent or private Amidah, so pray at your own pace. When you're finished with your own prayer, you may be seated, and we'll get back together in a couple of moments.
עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל.
We conclude the Amidah with Ethan leading us in Kaddish Shalem on page 48. Page 48.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה,
Amen.
ועמד דברי קירותי והמליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בגלל בזמן קריב ואמרו.
אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעולם ולעולמי עולמיה. יתברך.
יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתעלה שמי דקודשה
בריחו.
לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דמירן בעלמה ואמרו.
אמן.
תתקבל צלוטון ובאותון דכל ישראל קודם עבורתון דבישמיה ואמרו.
אמן.
יהי שלמה רבה משמיה וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו.
אמן.
עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל ואמרו.
אמן. יישר כוח.
In a moment, we're going to rise for Elenu on page 51, but first, I would like to call up Aunts Bara and Nairika to open the ark so that we can open the ark for Elenu. We rise as the ark is open, and we have Elenu on page 51. Page 51.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורל עלינו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נוטה שמיים ועושה עצמו של הקדוש על כן נקווה לך אדוני אלוהי נראות מערב תפארת וזכר. כי המלכות שלך היא, ולעולמי תמלוך בכבוד, ככתוב את תורתך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל
remain standing as the ark is closed. The ark is closed. You may be seated. Well done. Shkach. Even as we gather together in joy, we are perhaps most acutely reminded of those who are no longer with us. This week here at PJTC, we're marking the yahrzeit and the anniversary of the passing of Abraham Kokos, Albert Grauman, Bella LeBeau, Bernard Weisfeld, Cecilia Nell, David Minovitz, Eric Flesher, Esther Hershkowitz, Evelyn Gold, Francis Breyer, Gary Michael Rabins, Ilona Fuchs, Irvin Vigo, Isaac Karsh, Jacob Levine, Jean Eisenberg, Jenny Taylor, Joel Ruffman, Joshua Silver, Jules Goldman, Margaret Dominguez, Marvin Holzman, Michael Clemens, Morton Mintz, Pauline Weinberger, Raymond Siegel, Richard Ryder, Rosa Weinstock, Ruth Bernath, Samuel Schiffman, Sam Allen Richmond, Samuel Bergman, Samuel Taylor, Tilly Manis, Swan Fang, and Yetta Kligfeld. If there's anyone else you would like to lift up their name in honor at this time, hold their name in your heart or say their name out loud wherever you are. And if you're in mourning for anyone or observing a yahrzeit, please rise and join me in the Kaddish Tome, the Mourner's Kaddish, on page 52. Let's pray together. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah.
Amen.
Ba'alma divra kirute v'amlik malchute b'chayechon uvyomechon uvchaye dechol beit Yisrael ba'agala uvizman kariv v'imru. Amen. Yehi shmei rabba mevorach le'olam u'lamei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitale v'yitalal shmei dekudsha brihu. Leila min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran be'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav hu yaseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. You may be seated. It appears that we have a number of gifts that are going to be presented. We move from kavod to simcha, and we're going to have gifts on behalf of the USY, our youth group, our sisterhood, and also our men's club, beginning with our good friend Elijah Masjetti, who's going to get up here and give a presentation on behalf of the USY.
Mazel tov. I'm pretty sure we've met a few times before, so I'm not going to waste any time introducing myself. Anyways, I hope you know how beautifully you've both led services tonight. It takes a lot of chutzpah just to get up here in front of this many people, and the fact that you're not only up here but doing a great job as well is truly inspiring. Music and songs are a huge part of Judaism, just like they are at home. That's why it's my pleasure to give you these B'Kol Echad books, which are filled with songs that'll last a lifetime. You guys can take them, they're not bad. These songs are typically sung at USY events, which you can now be a part of too, finally, or whenever you need a moment of peace. I love you both so much and can't wait to eat cake, celebrate more with you later. Mazel tov and Shabbat Shalom.
Yeshkoach, Elijah. I forgot to mention, this is their brother. So speaking of siblings, we have the sisterhood presentation, and so I'd like to call up Jill Goldwright, who's going to present to Ethan and Eliana on behalf of the PJTC sisterhood.
Shabbat Shalom. The very first sisterhood presentation that I ever made was to your big brother Elijah. So this feels familiar and extremely cool. But I don't really feel like I'm a sisterhood member to you guys. I feel more like the carpool driver who drove you to Hebrew school all the time that your mom wasn't driving, or Lauren wasn't driving, or Nancy was, you know. But I feel like more than that even. And so I just want to tell you a tiny little bit of our tradition tonight as the first of many gifts that you're going to receive over the next Shabbat weekend. So a long time ago, there was a new way of thinking about Judaism called mysticism, Kabbalah. And one of the things that the Kabbalists decided to do was assign numerical values to letters. So like Aleph is the first letter, that's 1. Bet is the second letter, that's 2. Get how this goes?
Yeah.
So suddenly words that were really important words also had numerical values. And maybe the most important word in our entire tradition is spelled like this: Yud, Hey, Vav, Hey. That's the way that the name of God, Adonai, is written. Yud, Hey, Vav, Hey. Bet you're wondering where I'm going with this. Well, if you total Yud, Hey, Vav, Hey together, it makes the number 26. So 26 becomes a fairly significant number in Judaism. Bet you're still wondering where I'm going. Well, 26 divided by 2 is 13. So tonight, we're celebrating 2 really special 13s in the B'nai Mitzvah, and the name of God is written all over this Shabbat. So mazel tov to you both. I'm super proud of you guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeshkoach, Jill. And now it's my honor to go to Fred Rotenberg. I believe Fred's joining us on Zoom. So let's go to Fred Rotenberg, who is going to give a presentation on behalf of the PJTC Men's Club.
And thank you, Rabbi. First, mazel tov to each of you in reaching this milestone in your lives. I'm Fred Rotenberg, the president of the PJTC Men's Club. Now, our primary function is to financially support all of the affiliated youth organizations. We raise money through fundraising and through membership. But we do more. We provide leadership and guidance to PJTC and to the general federation. 5 of our current board members are past presidents of PJCC, and we're ever present when called upon to support the Louis B. Silver Religious School, the USY, B'nai Simcha, Federation Youth, and PJTC in general. Now, tonight, I'm here to present to each of you a small but powerful device to help guide you through Torah and through life. Each of you will be receiving a yad from the Men's Club. That's the pointer we use to the text of the Torah while reading it. Now, its primary purpose is to keep our grubby hands off that fragile parchment and the ink. But the yad is more than a pointing tool. It's a guiding tool. Now, the yad will guide you through the sometimes lyrical, frequently magical words of the Torah. Each word it points to has been read in similar fashion for thousands of years. But what's unique about Torah is that everybody can draw something different from it. The yad is always pointing forward, guiding you both to be forward thinkers and compassionate people by understanding the past to guide you through your future. Now, you might recall a month or 2 ago, I asked you each to tell me something about yourselves, and what you told me bodes well for a pair of very forward and compassionate thinkers. Now, Ethan, I gleaned that you're definitely a thinker. First, you think about how to solve puzzles, how to build things, especially with Legos, how to manage your stock investments. I gather that last part is to help you stock your future garages of the luxury cars that you so love. Ileana, your compassion for others is incredible, whether helping your mom out with a toddlers and infant program, to caring for your dog Bobka, to raising money and awareness for and about homelessness. Ethan and Eliana, on behalf of Men's Club, I simply say Yashikor, and to the whole Meschedi family, Mazel Tov and Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, Yashikor, Fred. And now we are about to end this service, and as we began this service, and that is in joyous song, And so I'm going to ask everyone to please rise and join us just as best you can. Even if you don't know the words, please hum along and clap your hands. And then stick around for Kiddush and Oneg. Which, please?
Odivo shalom aleinu, Odivo shalom aleinu, Odivo shalom aleinu ve'al kulam. Odivo shalom aleinu, Odivo shalom aleinu, Odivo shalom aleinu ve'al kulam. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Shalom, shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Shalom, shalom. Odivo shalom aleinu, Odivo shalom aleinu, Odivo shalom aleinu ve'al kulam. Odivo shalom aleinu, Odivo shalom aleinu, Odivo shalom aleinu ve'al kulam. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Shalom, shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Shalom, shalom.
If I could get your attention, I'm going to invite the Masjetti family up here, the nuclear Masjetti family up here to lead us in Kiddush. Everyone else, we have some pre-poured cups and pre-torn bread back there for Kiddush and Motzi for you. And remember, the blue tablecloths are for tonight, the white tablecloths are for tomorrow. So go grab a cup of juice to join us for Kiddush. If you're at home, go grab a cup of wine or juice or whatever drink you celebrate with and come right back here to the screen, and we'll get started on Kiddush in just a moment. Would you look at that? I didn't see that.
Abby, we want to show the family.
All right, we're going to go to the other screen where our good friend Elijah is going to lead us in Kiddush.
I'm going to ask everyone to take a Kiddush cup if you want to, or stay here while we do the blessings, and then you can take a Kiddush cup and everything else that comes with it.
ויער ויבוקר יום השישי, והלכו לו השמיים והארץ, וכל צבאם, ויחל אלוהים ביום השביעי, מכל מלאכתו אשר עשה, וישבות ביום השביעי, מכל מלאכתו אשר עשה, ויברך אלוהים את יום השביעי, ויקדש אותו, כי בו שבת מכל מלאכתו, אשר ברא אלוהים לעשות. סברים הרנן, ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, בורא פרי הגפן.
אמן.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר קדישנו
במצוותיו רצבנו,
ושבת קודשו באהבה וברצון הנחילנו, זכרון למעשה בראשית, כי הוא יום תהילה למקרא קודש, זכר ליציאת מצרים. כי באנו בחרת ואותנו קידשת מכל עמים, ושבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת.
לחיים, אמן.
I'm going to make a quick Nithilat Yadayim on everyone's behalf. If you want to wash at home, feel free to. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu mitzvotav v'tzivanu al netilat yadayim.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechamin haaretz.
Amen.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Feel free to go and get a little bit of those pre-cut challahs, and make sure you feel free to sit also on the which tablecloths?
The blue
ones.
tablecloths.
The blue ones.
tablecloths. It's also great to schmooze under the stars. The peacocks would love to see you.